Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Going South is a 1978 Western comedy film that's directed and stars Jack Nicholson, along with Mary Steenburgen, Christopher Lloyd, John Belushi, Richard Bradford, Veronica Cartwright, Danny DeVito, and Ed Bagley Jr. The storyline goes that in Texas, shortly after the Civil War, Henry Moon is an outlaw who's on the run from the law. He's captured trying to escape to Mexico and taken back to town to be hanged. The town he's in has a special law that a condemned man can walk free if only one single woman in the town offers to marry him. Well, Henry's just in luck. At the last moment, Julia Tate offers to marry him, and pretty soon they are married. Henry soon discovers that Julia's motives are purely business-oriented, that she needs someone to work the mine that's on her property. The sheriff makes it very clear to Moon that the consequences of him leaving Julia will be bad. He'll end up right back on the gallows. This causes the two newly married people to try to form a relationship based on necessity in which they have absolutely nothing in common. The movie was co-written by John Shaner and was produced by Harry Geddes, both who were longtime friends of Jack Nicholson from his early days in Hollywood. This is the film debut of Mary Steenburgen, and you'll see Christopher Lloyd, who had worked with Nicholson on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This was John Belushi's second film, after having been on Saturday Night Live as a cast member for several years. The film was shot and released after National Lampoon's Animal House in July of 1978. And it's the second of three films that was directed by Nicholson. The first being 1971's Drive, She Said, and the third being the Chinatown sequel, The Two Jakes, which was released in 1990. It's the first time that he appears as the primary actor while directing. He does not appear in Drive, She Said, but he did star in and direct The Two Jakes. Jack Nicholson playing a Gabby Hayes-like character is really pretty interesting, and it's very amusing at times. But the critics were pretty harsh on Nicholson and Steenburgen and their characters, saying that chemistry just never gelled, with Nicholson acting more like a grandfather than a handsome guy that was trying to overcome Julia's virginity. Nicholson made the comment jokingly one time that the director of this film is one selfish, demanding egomaniac, and that the leading man isn't much better. When we see Jack Nicholson's character riding horseback to catch the stagecoach that's carrying Julia, the horse loses its footing and plows into a ditch, throwing Nicholson several feet into the air. The scene wasn't planned this way. Nicholson is really the person that goes flying into the ditch. Fortunately, neither the horse nor Nicholson was injured in this accident. He did have a few bumps and bruises, but later, after viewing the footage in the dailies, Nicholson exclaimed, "That's a keeper." Now, there were quite a few and regular on-set conflicts that happened between John Belushi and Nicholson. Belushi allegedly kept making some real demands on the production, so much so that he jarred the film's production. On one hand, Jack Nicholson really liked the young comedian, whose popularity was soaring at the time. Although Belushi was acting like a jerk sometimes, he was fundamentally sweet and the kind of guy that Nicholson liked to take under his wing. But Belushi had a very short fuse. He made a lot of petty demands, and he fought with the producer, especially Harold Snyder, whose job it is not to lose fights. Belushi became progressively more sulky as the film dragged on, and part of this was a response to his role shrinking quite a bit. He starts out pretty big in the film, but as time goes on, you see him less and less, to the point that his role basically could have been cut from the film and you wouldn't know the difference. John Belushi didn't have anything good to say about Jack Nicholson after the picture was done. He states that Jack Nicholson treated him badly and that he hated him. The script for the movie was making its rounds in Hollywood for a while. Jane Fonda was originally offered the role of Julia when the film was originally in development in 1971, but she ended up turning it down, saying that she had recently done a comedy western, which was Cat Ballou, and she just didn't want to do that again. Nicholson stated that they would have the script rewritten to make it fit her a little bit more, but she still declined to do it. It was filmed in Durango, Mexico, and at the time of production, there were over 70 westerns that had been shot there, and it was a regular filming location for John Wayne westerns. Jack Nicholson personally selected the movie newcomer Mary Steenburgen, who was sitting in the casting office waiting room when Nicholson first encountered her. He noticed that she didn't have a script to read, and he went and gave her one and marked off 3 scenes and arranged to read with her the following day. By the time this happens, she's gone through many years of excitement and disappointment trying to get into the film business. So she tried her best to calm her excitement, realizing that the part might not even be offered to her once she reads. You see, earlier in the week, she had been promised a job on a television pilot that was yanked completely out from under her. It was given to a blonde with big boobs. She felt dejected and at a loss when she started doing her read with Nicholson. What was originally going to be a 10-minute read turned into 2 hours. And by the time she left, she was so excited that she wanted to scream. She had no perspective on what would happen to her career. Was she going to be an overnight film star or have to go back to the Magic Pan, a restaurant where she had worked as a waitress? Take a look back at this film. It's a fun watch. It's not a great film, but I think it's worth the time to watch. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.